The name of my campaign is You Booze, You Cruise, You Lose. I named my campaign this because it's easy to comprehend and the topic is very clear once you've read the title. The target demographic is mainly aiming at people at the age of 18 and over due to the legal drinking age. I use a social grade table to categorise my target audience within the main social grades in the table, which are A, B, C1, C2, D and E. There was no specific selection of which social grades I would be aiming at, but I did want to target the social grade D and above, due to them having enough money to own a car, as well as the people having enough disposable income to afford alcohol and petrol or diesel for their car. It will be aimed at both male and female because both men and women can drink and drive. Although statistically men are more likely to go drink and drive more than women, but women still do it. A statistic that connotes this is a study done by the Daily Mail, which stated that 27% of men admit to driving over the limit, compared to 10% of women. This statistic shows that men are more likely going to drink and drive. The demographic also would target all ethnic groups. Because of all the statistics that I originally researched, there hasn't been a specific ethnic group that has said to drink and drive more than other ethnic groups. I use the same shades of blue and white to connote that my campaign leaflet is linked with the NHS and other health services. This could also link to the theory produced by Charles Sanders Peirce, who stated that the way people interpret a sign is what allows it to be signified and what gives it its meaning. Therefore, the main attributes of any sign need to be very clear to relay their intended meaning. This would show that it is a serious issue. It could also link to authorities and other services, such as police, paramedics, firefighters, etc. The accuracy of the facts and figures used in my campaign is quite high because they are acquired from trustworthy sources, such as the government, the local police force, charities, etc., such as the Think, Don't Drink and Drive campaign. For my campaign, I use generic basic language so anyone reading it can easily understand the point of it. The mode of address of my leaflet is in parent to child or teacher to pupil, as the tone of my campaign is very authoritative. It is essentially instructing the reader on what not to do and what to do. It does this by instructing the reader and then using statistics and the advice from a professional, who is a local police officer, to show that the topic is a very serious matter. Although the topic is overlooked when people refer to a serious matter in society, there are a lot of organisations that support this issue, so I incorporated the logos of organisations and companies that support the large problem of drinking and driving. The pictures used on the Do You Want to Be Just a Memory page are supposed to connote the past. This will be easily recognisable as all the photographs are faded in colour and the clothing that the people are wearing in the pictures look quite old-fashioned. I made the original pictures look more dated by artificially adding in a Polaroid frame. This connotes a sense of nostalgia and memories. The more recent photograph is in the front of the other 5 pictures is supposed to represent the present. The question for the title is very thought-provoking, as it will make the reader wonder what it would be like if anything like that did happen. I use multiple news values in my campaign leaflet. An example of which news values I used is simplicity, which links very clearly to my leaflet as it is pointing out the obvious statistics and information about the selected topic. This would also mean keeping the figures very simple so people would be more likely to read it. Due to the increase of drink driving incidents in the recent years, there are more and more leaflets and campaigns being produced by charitable organisations and the government. An example of some of the factual communication techniques that were used in my campaign leaflet is accuracy, which relates to the facts and figures and information being correct. The facts and figures and information that I use needs to be correct because if they are incorrect, it can be misleading. In public service advertising, the accuracy of facts and figures can be used as a way to attract an audience to a particular topic. For example, the statistics would need to be big and clear to draw the audience in the leaflet. This may then make the audience realise the dangers and problems caused by drinking and driving. Another example of factual communication used in my leaflet is bias, as this relates to information which is subjective, i.e. based on one person's opinions, views or beliefs. A disadvantage of this is that it can manipulate an audience's opinions because they are not given both sides of an argument or a range of views and opinions so that they can make their own decisions. It may also be beneficial to the campaign if some biased information is used, as the campaign will want to get as many people involved as possible. The critique I have received from my peers is really good, as they have highlighted the strengths as well as the weaknesses and possible improvements of my campaign. My peers think that the cover of my leaflet stands out really well, and the use of Polaroid frames around the old photographs match the old-fashioned feels of the pictures. One of my peers who critiqued my campaign also pointed out that the logos on the front panel of my leaflet are very well-known logos for organisations, so I will give the reader a vague idea of what my campaign leaflet is about. Some of the weaknesses which my peers pointed out is that I should try to use two colours, possibly blue and white, to match the text colours already used in the leaflet for an alternating panel background. Another improvement was suggested is to make the statistics stand out more on the statistics page, as they seem to blend in with the rest of the text on the panel. I decided not to follow the advice of my peers by keeping the same colours for the background and text. I did this because the colours work well together as they are now. Rather than spending any more time altering each tiny component of the leaflet, I decided to follow the advice of my last peer and improve the text size of my statistics by making the text larger and adding a bold effect on the selected text. During the research period of this production, I made a survey which was distributed among two media classes. The results from the survey were very promising as they informed me what information younger people were not certain on. For example, the majority of the 16 to 19-year-olds who participated in the survey did not know the correct punishments if someone is caught driving drunk. Out of the 26 people who participated in my survey, only 15 out of 26 are learning to drive or already driving. On the other hand, the fourth question in my survey asked if the participants drink alcohol. There were 19 out of 26 people who answered yes. This shows there may be a possibility of the participants have already driven while drunk. However, only 2 people said yes to have ever been involved in an accident or issue related to drinking and driving. When the 26 people were asked of their general opinion of drinking and driving, each person answered with a negative response. One answer that I received stated that it's very irresponsible of the person, as they are putting themselves in danger as well as everyone else around them. The answers I received from the last question in my survey surprised me, as the questions asked the participants if they remember any drink driving public service campaigns, such as posters or television advertisements. There were only 3 participants who could recall a single advertisement, which was a bartender advert from the Swink, in which the man kept alternating accents to put together a story. When researching the topic of my campaign, I thought that the younger audience that I was aiming at would already know at least of the basics of the consequences of caught driving under the influence of alcohol. So when I received the results from my survey, I made a decision to add in the basic consequences of drunk driving, as well as some statistics from reliable sources to influence the reader not to partake in drinking and driving. The survey I used was a primary research method which mainly revealed quantitative data, which is numerical, as well as a small amount of qualitative data, which is the opinions of the participants. Another example of primary research would be the focus group, which I organised as it gave me the valuable opinions of people from the public. It helped me develop an idea of the general consensus is of drinking and driving. An example of secondary research that I used would only be the quantitative data from the reliable sources, rather than using people's opinions from studies and theories. Another example of feedback that I received was from my interview with the police officer, Paul Gray, who answered my 14 questions about the drink driving topic. I asked questions relating to public service advertisements, penalties against people driving under the influence of alcohol, and I was able to use his answers in my leaflet. The answers I received were very good and detailed in places. I was able to use Paul's answer from the interview to create a small section at the bottom of the interview's layout, which explains how people can make their nights safer and how they can plan their nights out. I plan the research and production stages of creating my leaflet through using weekly production schedules that are loaded to my blog every Monday. My production schedules detail what I will be doing in each lesson of my media class, as well as using a free period of my own to work on any unfinished pieces of work for media. My time management skills could be improved slightly as I need to try and organise my time better, which would mean that I should try and keep up to date with my production schedules, rather than falling behind it and attempting to finish the work in the free periods of my timetable, or by leaving it to the last minute. This is a weakness of my time management, as I then may have to rush certain parts of my work due to me not organising my time better. For primary research, I distributed a survey for my target audience, which gave me mainly quantitative data. I then used this research in my campaign leaflet. For secondary research, I use reliable sources and trustworthy organisations, such as Think, Don't Drink and Drive, as well as the government and police force. This helped me gain valuable statistics, which I also incorporated into my leaflet. In the interview I did with the local police officer, he recommended reliable sources of statistics and information, such as the Department of Travel's statistical release of road casualties from 2012. The first part of feedback that I received was from when I presented my PESI to my peers. I firstly asked which title they would prefer. I listed 3 different titles and a majority of my peers picked You Booze, You Who's, You Lose, which was my first and best choice. Another example of feedback is the general feedback that I have received throughout all of my media classes, due to both of my teachers offering feedback on my own work. This included large amounts of advice and generic feedback on my campaign leaflet, such as one of my teachers was teaching me how to merge a picture and a piece of text together to make it look like text was cut out of the picture. This overall improved the general look of the front panel of my leaflet rather than using different types of fonts. Another major part of feedback I received was from my survey that was distributed among first and second year students at college. When I first started to research statistics for my chosen topic, most of the statistics stated that younger and/or new drivers were more likely to drink and drive when compared to the more experienced or older drivers. Some statistics also indicated that most drivers seem to forget the important information that they should know. For example, most young or new drivers may forget the amount of alcohol you can consume before you are over the legal limit, or the consequences you may face if you are caught driving under the influence of alcohol. Upon receiving the results from my survey, I read through each answer carefully and analysed the results. The feedback I received from each participant was very useful. After I analysed the results, I inserted them into the article for my campaign leaflet. It is important to use primary research as well as secondary, as some secondary research may not be the exact data that I need for my campaign leaflet. The feedback from the survey did show that most 16 to 19-year-old participants were sure of the consequences if they are caught driving under the influence or the legal limit of alcohol. For example, only 7 of the participants in my survey selected a 1-year driving ban as a drink driving penalty for question 8.